All right, time now to see what's making the headlines here in France. And we're joined by our press reviewer, Nicholas Rushworth. Morning to you, Nick.
Hi to you, Will.
Looking at some of the papers in the French daily Libération, leading with the decision by the U.S. President Donald Trump to pull U.S. forces out of northern Syria. They say he's a quitter.
There you go. Trump and Syria there, the front page. Le lâcheur, which translates as the quitter, as you said. And of course, it's arguing that this move by Donald Trump to withdraw 2,000 U.S. forces from northern Syria is not the right thing to do. He's abandoning, notably, his Kurdish allies in the north of the country. Actually, one of its pieces inside the paper is called After the Americans, the Flood. Now, it's pointing out that this withdrawal is basically an echo of events in Iraq in 2014 when the Americans left, and that, it says, led to the emergence of the Islamic State group. So the consensus is that among the papers is that the battle against Islamic State is not over. That paper in that piece, Après eux le déluge, saying that there's been a pattern of yo-yoing in and out of the region in US foreign policy for decades, and this is part of that pattern. And the warning from Libération is that the United States could well be forced to return.
And it's a top story for left-leaning Libération, as you mentioned, but also for the more conservative Le Figaro.
Yeah, Le Figaro, there we got that front page there with Syria and this whole question of the relationship with Turkey and the Kurdish combat in the north of the country. Now, Le Figaro is arguing that this is really a gift for Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He said in recent days he wants to organize a new offensive against the Kurds. The quote is that Erdogan could not have dreamt of a better present. Now, one analyst is quoted in that piece there, you can see by Le Figaro, which is Erdogan needs a war right now to boost his Turkish nationalist feeling within the country ahead of municipal elections in March. So this is perfect timing for him in the sense that he can go forward with the combat, and that will serve his electoral needs. That article there saying this move by Ankara to take advantage of the weakened position of the Kurds should be of concern to Turkey's NATO allies. Will there be an alliance crisis about events with combats between Turks and Kurds in northern Syria?
That'll look at a couple of French papers. Meanwhile, focus for the U.S. press has been on Jim Mattis quitting. The U.S. Defense Secretary did so a day after Trump overruled him by ordering the withdrawal of U.S. troops.
And there you can see the photo of Jim Mattis, and the editorial board says he was right. Who will protect America now? Mattis seems so much of as a bulwark against some of Trump's weirder moves. Now, it's saying that he is right because there is no indication that Trump has thought through anything at all about this in terms of consequences, including allowing the so-called Islamic State group to act. It says the biggest losers will be the Kurdish troops, as I've said, and it's saying that Vladimir Putin has been given a gift here. Iran is winning. And the quote from that piece I want to give you is, Mr. Trump's assertion is that the Islamic State battle is over is just absurd. Let me go to another comment piece in the Chicago Tribune, which is actually taken from the Washington Post, which says we need bipartisan action now to stop Trump in his tracks. He's a danger. It says there are three ways across the aisle that Republicans, Democrats should do this. Number one, Mattis should be brought to testify in Congress to explain just if Trump is fit, if he is a threat to national security. Secondly, Congress should assert its authority in the question of war and deny that authority of unilateral action from Donald Trump as president. And thirdly, if there are moves to impeach the president in some way within the House as part of procedure, then the Republicans should take him out. So the quote there, the last sentence from the Chicago Tribune piece is, we are in uncharted territory now with this. Republicans are cowards. If nothing else, Mattis's departure now should be a shock to the system for them.
Should be a shock, but the revolving door at the White House has been spinning for some time now, hasn't it, Nick? Moving on now, a long way from geopolitics in the Middle East. Christmas stories are flowing thick and fast, and you spotted one you liked in the main French papers.
Well, for people who don't know France so well, who've not been, when you go around the country at Christmas time, you see lots of Father Christmases hanging from houses and clock towers and so on. Le Parisien aujourd'hui en France has a piece about extreme Father Christmases, and apparently town halls are increasingly hiring Santa Clauses for between 600 to 1,500 euros to actually climb down a belfry tower with kids looking on. Of course, the kids go completely wild. There's artificial snow. The Father Christmas comes down. They're actually a local fireman or even a professional climber, and they do sometimes get into trouble with the article actually lists them having problems, but it just captures the atmosphere. There you can see that picture actually. It's from Lille this week, earlier this week. So just an extraordinary feeling of Christmas with the kids. Apparently when the Santa Clauses get down to the bottom of the ground, the kids go completely wild. It's a riot. So, part of the flavour of France. With that trending now, it's increasingly popular with Christmases seen on clock towers and doing events around the country.
Well, there you have it. Not everything in Santa's bag is a gift. It might be repelling equipment as well. Thank you very much, Nick. Time now to take a break, but stay tuned. After the break, there'll be more news and then our special focus report. The fate of thousands of whales hangs in the balance as Japan considers quitting the International Whaling Commission. In our focus report, we'll look at the country's cultural ties to hunts and how activists are trying to stand in the way. You're watching live from Paris.